I flew 6 missions with that group. I think I flew 6 the first 3 missions as a pilot or as a substitute uh, air commander, and then I started flying as a command pilot on the next 3 missions. I think I had completed my 6th mission, and all of a sudden I came in from a mission and found out I was being transferred to the 100th Bomb Group. The 100th Bomb Group had already acquired a terrible reputation as the Bloody 100 because of some severe fighter attacks that they had received at the hands of the Luftwaffe. I went to the 100th Bomb Group to find that there were 3 or 4 of my upperclassmen, 2 or 3 of my classmates, and we were all together in a war in England.
How many missions did you fly?
I flew 29 missions over the European continent, principally Germany. That was in addition to about 400 hours that I'd flown and had a submarine patrol here in the States off the east and west coast.
Did any of your planes get damaged?
What?
Did any of your planes get damaged?
I'm glad you asked that question. I'll refer to my note here and recall that on the 17th of February 1945, I was on a mission to Frankfurt, Germany, the marshalling yards, and I was leading the wing, in the bomb group in the wing, and we were probably less than 10 seconds away from bomb release over the marshalling yards, and we were hit by flak. It knocked out our number 1 engine. It damaged all our communications set, and if you got in Flak Alley, you were in trouble. In fact, the flak sometimes got so thick it looked just like you could walk across it. Of course you couldn't, but they could leave a lot of holes in the aircraft. When we could get in touch, communications-wise, I had to abandon. We dumped our bombs, but I had to abandon the mission as lead, and was taken over by the deputy lead. But we were at this point kind of anxious to get back over friendly territory because over Frankfurt and the Rhine-Main River, there was enough flak to walk on. And we managed to get back over France without any further substantial damage, but we had 2 engines, 1 engine that was gone and 1 engine that was damaged. And we were trying to get back to England. We were in a situation that we could not hold altitude, so we were dropping down from 25,000 down lower. And we finally got over France. We saw an air transport aircraft that was making a descent through the clouds. Instead, the clouds were everywhere. And we tacked on to him to try to get ourselves out from under the overcast. Needless to say, we got lost in the fog. But we finally got under the overcast, headed for England at an altitude we could maintain, but not very high. By the time time we got to the coast, the navigator determined what the course was to England, but when I was flying as a command pilot, the crew, the pilot, decided that we could not make England. Our assignment for damaged aircraft was to go into a place in northern Belgium. So we were trying to get back to this place. In the western part of Belgium, there had been numerous mines, and their tailings were kind of like pyramids or cones that were like little mountains. And the ceiling was so low that we were flying in between these mining tailings. And all of a sudden, we were dodging church steeples and whatnot. We came in over Brussels, and this crew had had a similar experience about a month and a half or 2 months before, and their recommendation was that let's land at Brussels where we can see what we're doing and go on the ground, and that's what we did. The aerodrome at Brussels had a little bit of a runway, but most of it was sod field, and there was a little steel planking there. And when we landed with the B-17, we got down to the end of the runway and decided that it would be well not to try to put the airplane on the turf. So we cut the engines, and at that point, the aerodrome officer, a British RAF gentleman, came and said, "You cannot park here, sir. Remove your aircraft immediately." And I explained to him that if we took that B-17 off of the runway or the steel planking, that we'd go to the hubs in the mud. He says, "I command you to remove this aircraft herewith." And I said, "Yes, sir," and we cranked up a couple of engines and started to move the old B-17 off the runway. Sure enough, we got 2 wheels off the runway, but we were already in the mud, sunk down to the propellants. So we cut the engines, and I tipped my hat and said, "It's yours, old boy," and we left. Upon leaving, looked back at the airplane and knew we'd been hit pretty bad, but in every direction that I looked at the aircraft, I could see daylight, holes all over the place. Didn't make any difference which direction I looked. Well, that old airplane had an awful rough time, but it got us on the ground, and sure enough, it came back into the war a little bit later. We had to spend 2 or 3 days getting acquainted in Brussels, and that was quite an experience. Well, normally in bombardment, squadrons were 8 to 12 aircraft, and they'd fly in a group formation of 3 to 4 squadrons. There would be a high, there would be a low, and there would be a lead.